For the first 30 seconds of this video, everything you are about to hear can be summarized in one terrifying sentence. What began as an internet myth slowly transformed into a documented nightmare supported by footage, timestamps, disappearances, and details that were never meant to be connected, and by the end of this story you will understand why some videos vanish, why certain files are censored, and why watching until the final second may change the way you look at forests, abandoned places, and even your own reflection at night. This story does not begin with fear, but with curiosity, because the most dangerous horrors always start as harmless questions. And Slender Man was once nothing more than a fictional character shared online, a tall, faceless figure wearing a dark suit, hiding between trees and buildings, appearing only in manipulated photographs meant to scare people for fun. Yet something strange began to happen when different creators from different countries started describing the same details without ever speaking to each other. The same movements, the same silence, the same sense of being watched even after the screen was turned off. As the legend grew, so did the reports, because people started claiming they had seen him not on a screen, but in real locations: deep forests, abandoned schools, empty parks, at dusk places where sound feels swallowed and the air becomes unnaturally heavy. And what made these stories disturbing was not just the sightings, but the consistency, the identical descriptions of a tall figure standing perfectly still, always at a distance, always impossible to focus on clearly, as if reality itself refused to allow a full view. Then came the footage, the videos that should not exist, the clips uploaded by anonymous users showing shaky cameras, distorted audio, and moments where the background appears to bend or blur unnaturally, as if the presence of something invisible was interfering with the recording. And these videos never lasted long online, because they were often deleted within hours, sometimes minutes, either by the uploader or by unknown forces, leaving behind only re-uploads, corrupted fragments, and comments filled with confusion and fear. What makes these recordings terrifying is not what they show directly, but what they suggest indirectly, because Slender Man is rarely visible, often appearing only as a shadow between trees, a tall silhouette behind a building, or a reflection that disappears the moment the camera moves. And yet the fear is unmistakable, because those filming are not acting. Their breathing becomes erratic, their movements frantic, their voices trembling, and the environment itself seems to respond with unnatural silence. Experts and skeptics attempted to explain these videos as hoaxes, editing tricks, or mass hysteria, but explanations began to fall apart when timestamps, weather conditions, and locations started matching real-world data. When people discovered that some of these places later became associated with missing person cases, unexplained injuries, or reports of individuals found wandering, confused, unable to remember where they had been for hours or even days. The most unsettling pattern appeared when viewers noticed that those who spent too much time analyzing the footage often reported strange symptoms, including headaches, static-like ringing in the ears, vivid nightmares, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched, even in their own homes. And while this could be dismissed as psychological suggestion, the number of reports continued to grow, forming a pattern too precise to ignore. Slender Man is not portrayed as a creature that attacks violently, but rather as something far worse, a presence that observes, follows, and slowly invades perception, creating paranoia, isolation, and fear without ever needing to act, because fear itself becomes the weapon. And the footage reflects this perfectly, showing long moments of nothing happening, stretches of silence that feel unbearable, broken only by distant sounds that cannot be identified. One particular video gained attention for reasons that still remain unexplained, because it showed a forest path during daylight, seemingly harmless, until viewers noticed that the trees in the background did not move naturally, their positions subtly changing between frames, as if the environment itself was rearranging. And near the end of the clip, a tall blurred shape appears behind the cameraman, visible only for a single frame, yet enough to freeze anyone who notices it. After that video surfaced, several re-uploads claimed the original creator vanished, leaving behind abandoned social media accounts and unanswered messages. And while there is no official confirmation of what happened, the timing was enough to fuel the legend further, reinforcing the idea that some footage is not meant to be recorded, let alone shared. The terrifying aspect of Slender Man lies not in gore or jump scares, but in implication. The idea that something ancient and patient exists beyond human understanding, watching quietly, interfering subtly, and leaving behind fragments of evidence that are always incomplete, always just out of reach, forcing the mind to fill in the gaps with its own fears. As the years passed, the legend evolved, incorporating new elements such as interference with electronics, distorted time perception, and the inability of witnesses to recall faces or details after encounters. And these elements appeared again and again in the footage, reinforcing the feeling that the videos were not random creations but parts of something larger. Some viewers believe Slender Man is a modern manifestation of an older concept, a shape that adapts to cultural fears, while others believe the footage is evidence of a phenomenon not yet understood by science, something that exists between dimensions, visible only under specific conditions, and regardless of the explanation, the fear remains the same. because once you see these videos, it becomes difficult to convince yourself that everything is fake. The most disturbing question is not whether Slender Man is real, but why the footage keeps appearing despite constant deletions, warnings, and skepticism, as if the act of recording and sharing is part of the phenomenon itself, spreading awareness, fear, and curiosity in a cycle that cannot be stopped. By the end of this video, you may feel an urge to look away, to turn off the screen, to convince yourself that it is all fiction. But the stories, the patterns, and the footage will remain in your mind, resurfacing when you walk alone at night, when you pass a line of trees, when you notice a shadow standing too still in the distance. Because the most terrifying part of Slender Man is not what you see on the screen, but what you start imagining after it goes dark, when silence becomes louder than sound and the feeling of being watched refuses to fade. If you want more terrifying stories, disturbing mysteries, and deep dives into legends that blur the line between fiction and reality, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment sharing what you think about this footage, and share this video with someone brave enough to watch it until the end.